everyone, it's another beautiful Wednesday morning on Just a Chat with Bunmi Alabi. I'm Bunmi Alabi, and I'm super grateful to God for the gift of another new week. And first of all, happy new month to you all. I know we're just seeing for the first month, and you're welcome to the month of May, which is also the month of grace. And I pray that everything you have been trusting God for, even from the beginning of this year, no matter what has happened, I know a lot of things has happened since the beginning of this year, but it has been the grace and mercy of God that has kept us all to see this day. And for people that have gone through one challenge, maybe you have lost someone, you have find it hard to push through, and you are at the verge of giving up. I want you to know that God is aware of whatever you are going through. God is not done with you, and there's a say that the sun is still enough to dry the clothes. We still have some more time. You understand? So just keep pushing. Don't stop trying. Keep pushing, and I know that God is going to visit you and He will set you for everything you are trusting Him for in Jesus' name. All right. So on my show this morning, I have wonderful people who are joining me on the show today, and let me start from my co-host here. I have Mrs. Akimbelejo on set. Good morning.
Morning,
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So how has it been with
Fine,
you?
fine.
Everything Nigeria, everything going on around.
We're good.
New month.
We are good. You have no choice.
No choice,
As far as your life, you have to be good
Yes, you have to
and
just
happy.
be good. You have to keep smiling, keep
Positive.
looking good,
Yes.
keep being
Intentional.
positive. Yes, I like that word. Keep being positive,
Positive.
even in the midst of the negative situation.
Yeah.
Just profess positive thing.
Yeah.
If you are saying the country is hard, it's hard. It should be hard, not me.
Yes, so.
But we know that okay, even though you don't have money, I'm rich in Jesus' name.
Amen.
If somebody says something like that, you always say it is well when it is not well. We are professing it that it
Yes,
is
so.
well. You
Yes.
understand?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's the price.
Correct.
Keep saying positive things even in the midst of negative situation. We know that things are a lot of negativity around, but keep saying positive things.
Yes.
And to take us further on this discussion this morning, I have a professional in our midst too. She's a child advocate. She's someone that she's very vast. But when it comes to this discussion, this is our niche, and I know she knows our audience very well. She's been here before, and I always want to always come here and say, please join me as I welcome you. This is Abiola Fawole.
It's a pleasure being here. Good morning, ma.
Good to have
you
Good morning,
again.
ma. It's good to see you
Yeah,
again,
it's
ma'am.
been a while. So how is everything as family,
We are-
ministry, school?
We are doing fine.
School has resumed, so
Yes, very
resumption
pleased.
time.
Teachers resumed before the curfews.
Yeah.
So we resumed almost 2 weeks before now.
So teachers holidays are just like 2 weeks.
Just not even up to 2 weeks.
Wow.
Because they had to come to school and we had to get them prepared for training before the school will finally resume.
But did you have time to rest?
Not
As
really.
a school?
Not really.
Not really.
Not
I will
really.
force you to rest. I will tell my brother that you should just take you as in just maybe 1 week.
And a break.
Only you a break, only you me time. No husband, no children, just go and refresh yourself. As school owners, I know you go through a lot of stress. Taking care of just a child, you know what it takes. And parents they leave their responsibility most of the time that the teachers, that's what I'm paying you for. Have you ever encountered maybe a parent expecting so much from you as a teacher?
A parent even told me about a decade ago that she works in a bank.
Okay.
So she told me that if she's to take care of a child at home, why is she paying in school?
Can you imagine?
So she goes to work so that she can get us paid.
Wow. Wow.
So she's feeding you.
Wow. That's where we see where parents, parents' role in raising a child, the teacher's role. That even as a Sunday school teacher, as a children's teacher in church, a lot of parents expect us to do some things.
To feed them in totality.
Not even feed them
Spiritually.
Morally,
Totality.
to teach them everything. You understand? There's so much expectation on us that the children. Fine, I know that we have a responsibility, but how long do they spend in church? Maybe just on Tuesday or Sunday. How many
3
hours? Less than 5 hours in church. But parents spend much time, but you school owners, I know you have a lot of time to spend with the children.
No, not really a lot of time to spend with them as today. There's this saying that it is home
Yeah.
That is the bedrock of the family. That is the society we build outside. Starts and it stems from the home.
True.
That means if you divide the amount of hours that children stay at home and to the hours that is in the day, it's just like a third of it. So that means the home still have the priority.
But in a home whereby the mother has gone to work from morning, from maybe from 5 a.m. and she's not coming back, especially the mother, she's not coming back not until maybe 9 p.m.
Will you laugh if I tell you that we bathe some children in school?
We bathe some children
In the morning.
Will you laugh if I tell you that?
but they pay you extra.
No, it's not paying. But when you find out that the child is really telling you that the child did not have his or her bath today,
Wow.
and will you just keep that child in school? Of course, before the child could come out to tell you, that child is feeling uncomfortable already.
Wow. In the morning.
Wow. I'm just hearing this
I've
from
heard that
you.
before.
I think that should be a discussion.
I've heard of parents leaving children late in school, but now that you won't have bath your child in the morning, I've never heard that.
I think that one should be like extra, it should be like extra service you are rendering for them because you can't expect I know there's a daycare I know of a daycare service that okay, the lady she bathes the children once they come back from school, after the school she gives them food and everything. And she charged very well. She has stopped it now, but she charged very well. And the parents were saying they were ready to even pay her more.
That is if it has been programmed and planned.
Yes.
But this happened, and by the time you call the parents, they did not even know.
Wow.
Oh. Because they'll just tell the child, when the child woke up early, she quickly runs to bed.
The irresponsible adults that they think they have left their children with and have gone woke up late and just brought them to school, and the parents are not even aware.
Oh.
And the child told the teacher, and she's feeling uncomfortable, and the teacher had to bring the child out somewhere to have a bath for the child.
Wow.
How about that?
I think, this is a divergence kind of, but I just want us to quickly eat this. There are some parents that feels like once the child gets to a certain age, the child should be responsible for
Himself or herself.
Like my son, I think one just clocked 14 and the other one is 12. At a point I told them that before I normally monitor them. My husband always called me a monitoring agent. I will monitor them because when they bathe, I will see soap on their back. I could tell my last son that go back and wash yourself and release your body again. At times I would just see soap on his head and I say go back. So and at a point I was like, it's like I'm too no, it's not attached or too monitoring that. I don't know what to use. Like maybe I'm just all over them trying to monitor them that they should be able to know. And at a point I have to talk to them that see responsibility. You should know that normally you should be able to take care of yourself without me trying to monitor you to you understand.
That
So
is because you are around. That's why you are able to see that.
Okay, if I'm not around.
That's the problem. So that child will just dress up and the way he feels, he has done it. And nobody is watching to put him through and then he
Okay,
leaves.
don't you think maybe parents should now teach those children some certain things? I think maybe when a child is getting to a certain age, you should teach children responsibilities as in how to do some things. Okay, brush your teeth. I've had a nephew that went to boarding house in GS1. When he came back, after it was like a pre-boarding house experience. If for 1 month, if you see the way all his teeth were brown, he said he doesn't really brush his teeth. He doesn't boarding house. In fact, I said, wow, this is not a very good
because nobody to
monitor. But at the end of the day, that place was a place for them to be able to take responsibility for themselves. So me, I might not really advocate for boarding house, but I think on the other side, it's a place where children get trained. They get to take responsibility to take care of their things. Nobody will teach you that you take care of your box because they will steal your stuff. You understand? So I think that's the advantage of boarding house and allowing children to do some things. You understand? Well, we are going to bring you back on that. That's just a divergence. But because of our time, what we have today talking about childhood trauma, its causes, effect, and how parents can help them. For a couple of weeks now, I've been talking about how people, dysfunctionalities in our society, in adulthood, when you see some adults behave irrationally, and most of the time, I don't want to really face the problem that this person does these things. I always like to look back to the root cause. why is this adult behaving like this? An adult that is lying, why is he lying? An adult that is stealing, why is he stealing? An adult that is not taking responsibility. Okay, like a man, I watched a video of a man that uses money to play Baba Jebu, and he wasn't responsible to take care of the child, the children's school fees, and the children got to know that their dad paid Baba Jebu. Do you understand? And I was like, we're talking about responsibility now. A boy child that was not well groomed, that was not well taught, not well trained, that child is going to grow up to become an irresponsible father. Of course. Do you understand? A girl child that does not have manner on how to do some things, take care of her body, take care of people, be respectful, do some things, the child will grow up and say, okay, this is the normal way to do things. Or a child that grows up seeing the parent always fighting, always shouting at each other, or a boy child that grows up to see his father beat his mom while he was young. He would think that is the normal way to treat a woman, that if a woman disrespects you or a woman does something for you, the next thing is to just raise your hand. So that thing psychologically, it has affected that child. It didn't just happen when the person is grown up. So we see all this thing from a lot of people. When you ask them, in counseling, when you try to ask some things and help some people with therapy, you realize that some of them had a lot of childhood pain that they never healed from, and it is affecting them. So I want us to really talk about this, the causes, the effect, and how parents can help them. So let's talk about the causes of childhood trauma. First, let's start asking all these things I will see. Do you agree with me that a lot of people are traumatized, a lot of adults are traumatized and have this trauma?
Well, when we first look at it, what is trauma? Because people just say trauma.
Yeah.
Anything that makes you to be discomforted in the way you think, you reason, and your life generally, that's trauma. Are you getting it? You are not behaving the normal way. Something is affecting you negatively and it's making you not to be comfortable, to behave properly. That is trauma. Are you getting me now? So there are a lot of factors that can cause trauma in children. I did child psychology. And in psychology, there are things that people study, children study, and the way they reason is different from the way adults reason. Children have a myopic mind that they just want to do things the way they see or feel it should be done. And that is why somebody wrote and said, the mind of a child is like a white paper. So whatever you put on it, you write on it. That's what defines that child. So when a new child is born, it's not just having a pure mind. So whatever now makes that child to behave like that, there are factors. Part of it is environment. So in education, we don't joke with environment of a child. Environment will not mean just this space. It will mean the people around. Environment will mean a lot of things that will affect that child. Even the feeding. Things that can affect the child is environment. So a lot of people, when they don't now get it right from the childhood, you are raising a dysfunctional adult, like you said it. So a lot of people are traumatized. Don't let us shy away with that. Even the country is causing
Nigeria
to be traumatized.
Yeah.
My daughter, we used to drop her off in school, find a way to bring her back. Then there was a day that the car, I was supposed to bring her. Then the car had a fault, so it was in the mechanic's shop. And when I found a tricycle to go to her school, that the tricycle will take me there, bring her, will bring us back home. But the moment she saw tricycle, I used to help with some few friends of ours that live around. What? Where's the car? I said, no car, the car is in the mechanic's shop. Mommy,
Gosh.
why is the mechanic not done? I said, anything can happen. There's no car today. Let's move on. And she kept saying, then order for Uber. I said, no, I'm not going to order for Uber. This is how we are going to move. The next thing, I just saw about 6 of them. They started running out of their school gate. I was like, what's going on? At the end of the day, the driver of that tricycle was telling me that, they are shy. They don't want to enter the tricycle in the school. So I couldn't believe my ears. I got into the tricycle. I said, okay, then let's go. By the time we got out of the school gate, they ran into the tricycle. So I was wondering, by the time we got home, I wanted us to discuss it. Then I was like, she said, Astiz, in school, composure. Later, I didn't discuss that with the dad initially, but after a while, we were just talking and I just mentioned it. The daddy was wow that, what? What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? I said, what? What is the meaning of this? I said, 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 what is the meaning of this? what about pupils in your school that don't have access to any form of transportation? And they will keep trekking. So from that day, my husband said, you will take your transportation fee when you are going home. So that when you leave school, you trek down to the bus stop, is a distance. From there, you will jump into this tricycle and will bring you back to the closest junction to our house. Then from there, you now see trek back into the house again. It was not easy, but later when myself and my husband, I didn't say anything. But he said, we need to start exposing them to the kind of environment that we are in. Are you getting what I'm saying? So we need to train our children to be able to adapt to anywhere where they find themselves. So, even though we could afford to go and be bringing her with that car, but let her taste the kind of another life.
Yes. Okay, I wanted to ask your child how, as in for the time that she went through that thing, how was her disposition towards you? Because if you were to ask her then, she would say, my parents are wicked. Yeah.
She said, that is a wicked man. I said, no, he's not a wicked man. But imagine, while I now decided that one day I'll take her to where my father's house was. I took her there. From there, we trekked to the secondary school I went to. It's a distance. So when we trekked there, she was like, is this how you trek? I said, both in the morning and in the afternoon, because then we went to government secondary schools, and there were no buses. Nobody will take you to say my daddy is dropping me off. No. So she was like, wow. I said, okay, you can see your own daddy's own, the school you went to in Ebutimeta, is farther. So you should appreciate that your school is not even as far as we went to. So at that time I kept speaking with her from the women angle, that no, don't see your dad that is a wicked man. He's not. But if we keep taking you to school, even that's why you don't know that some people are trekking. You see some of them now, you will jump into the car, we put on the AC. But some people like you, they don't have 2 eggs, but it's just that their parents are not that opportune to have what we have, and they will trek from that school back to their houses. Don't you have them? I started mentioning names for her. She said, yes, that's true. But God has blessed us now. I said, so taste the kind of life that in case that blessing is not there, that's what we are. And myself and your dad, we agreed. So if you are saying your dad is a wicked man, that means I'm also a wicked woman. So let us be wicked now, so that by the time you find yourself later in future, I'm not saying things will get bad, but in case things happen, you will be able to navigate around life.
Thank you very much. That navigation is the most difficult part of it, because I've heard a lot of parents who say that, oh, the kind of suffer I went through growing up, and my children must not go through that same thing. I've suffered all the sufferness for them. I think I was discussing with someone, and we're talking about, growing up sometimes, our parents deprive us of some things, like some basic things that children need. Maybe for instance, protein.
Okay.
Using protein to we're talking about this daddy that not that they can't afford that protein, but you dare not go and tell them that I need meat. I remember my son, that my last son, that time, because we are trying to teach, because honestly I think we've discussed this too before, that let these children taste the other side of life. Everything. We've seen some people, some married people, whether male or female, that they will say they can't eat without meat.
True.
So we will say that we can't. This meat is too small. I can't eat without. You understand? You understand? But before then, before I just share that, I want us to just go to the street to hear what people are saying concerning childhood trauma that affects their adulthood right now.
For me, my childhood trauma was the fact that my parents was shouting, and it made me lose my self-confidence. I grew up with very low self-esteem, not until recently that I got to understand what I was dealing with, and I fought against it. So I could even remember there was one time I just moved from a public junior school to a private senior school. And, for someone that just moved from a public school and at that time, the system wasn't as good as it is now, even though. And, when getting to a private senior secondary school, it was hard for me to balance the way, the system, and my results wasn't too good. When I brought my results home, my mom felt really bad. I could see that she felt disappointed in me. I could feel that she expected more. But then I wasn't able to give more because I didn't have more to give. That was what I was able to give. That was what I had that I could give. Then another time she enrolled me into, learning, hairdressing. And, I think I just spent about a month, and she asked me to help her weave her hair. It wasn't that smooth. I could see the disappointment in her face, and I could see she was just shouting and all of that. But then, even at that time, I felt that I was a bad person. I felt that I'm a dullard. I felt that I was not doing well. I felt that I'm the worst and all of that. But it took me a while to understand that we have different paths, and hairdressing might not just be it for me. And I just started learning though. So just a month. And of course, as the result, my first senior secondary school results, I just moved, and it was a lot. I've not been able to sit and I've not been able to adjust to a new system. But thank God for the fact that my WAEC was good. So that was a good point. But then I noticed that even though I was conscious about it, even though I was conscious that this is something I needed to deal with, because it dealt with me a lot. I keep telling myself every time, and it didn't even help matters that I got pregnant at the age of 21, and it was a lot. So when I started having children, I shout a lot. Like I shout a lot, and I know it. I shout a lot. And I don't want to say nagging, but it could pass for nagging. Any little mistake, I shout. It took me years. Not until I had my last baby, and my first is about to be 13, So if you can imagine the years that I've leashed out, and that trauma, not knowing that I was actually traumatized. So it was when I had my last baby that I actually understand that, oh, I'm actually traumatized, and I understand what it felt like, because this one will come and meet me. I want sweets, I want biscuits, and I have to. While growing up, I didn't have the luxury. I can't go to my parents, my mom or my dad to say, I want to buy biscuits, I want to buy sweets. At my free will, maybe on my birthdays, it's a lot. And, so I started making conscious efforts. To deal with it, to understand that they are children. Children will always be children. And if you don't allow them to be children, if you don't allow them to play that role as a child, it's going to affect them while they grow up. It's going to affect another generation, just like it affected my first child. And it's taking me a lot of conscious effort now to speak to him that, no, you are enough. It's to speak to him that, to help him out of, what's it called? Low self-esteem, because that thing actually affected me, and it's affecting him now. So I'm just grateful for the fact that I now have a consciousness. I'm now in a consciousness, and I try not to, even though I'm not there yet. So, and my advice for parents is that whatever it is, whatever trauma, just know that it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. It was never your fault, and it will never be your fault. So once you understand that, and your children deserves better, you also deserve better. Your children deserves better. So when you understand that, you will know how to deal with it, and you know what to do about it. Can you tell us one thing that your parents did to you in the past when you were young, and that it has caused the trauma to you? Anytime you remember, you actually are not happy?
That was when I graduated secondary school. So I think then, I can't really remember, I think 2006. So we have VS. They call it VS, white and black. So they call the color white and black. So my mom was like, I bought the clothes, I kept it, I didn't tell her. So on the day I was like, I'm gonna put it beside a bag and go, when I get there I'll change. So that day it was as if she knows everything. She said, no, I'm not going. So anytime I remember, I'm like, remember those days, people doing graduation, anytime I remember, I feel bad. So when I grow up, I call her and I said, why did you stop me from not going? He said, no, she doesn't want me to go because of the fight they fight after the graduation, because I went to public school. So I said, but you'll have tell me instead of letting me have that kind of trauma. on my head. And she pleads. So since then, I'm so happy.
Do you think that it affected to your children, the way you train them?
No. Reason why I said it, anytime I want to take something from them, I tell them the reason why I'm doing it before I take it.
So what advice would you give to parents that have been through childhood trauma? Maybe their parent has abused them and they are inflicting it on their children without knowing. What advice do you have for them?
My advice for them is, what happens to them is a lesson. So whatever they want to do to their child, they should sit them down. You know, we African parents are not patient. That's what it's about the matter. We are not patient. And it's not, even if you are not going to tell the child the reason immediately, you can as well call her later or call him later. This is the reason why I said this. It's for your own good. When you grow up, you understand better. So I think children too understand parents when you explain some things to them. But our parents are just no is no without explanation. And it's very painful.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Trauma.
Yeah.
Trauma. There is a lot of it. There is a lot of it, but I cannot. Okay, let me share one with you. Okay, you know, as a child, my parents told me that it is not good. I'm from the Yoruba tribe, so that our tribe believe that it's not good to sit down at the entrance of the door. Could that, my joke anyone not jail, you know. Now, as a very curious child, I asked why, but I didn't get any reply at that time. So then I started growing up with that knowledge, believing that it is not good to eat at the entrance of the door. Okay, so I was growing up, and I started having children, and of course the norms continue. I had even at some point corrected, a lot of people were Kudake Majoko Jamlen without knowing why it is not, good for someone to not journey alone. I carry this mental belief, I don't know. I'm from a Christian home and we don't have a lot of war. As a matter of fact, I can't pinpoint one. But this general one baffles me a lot. So because I'm a teacher and a Yoruba one at that, one of these days I was making researches on AWOL, teaching other children. And I discovered that there are different kind of AWOL, and then I saw AWOL Imototo. And part of this AWOL Imototo happens to be one of, the AWOL, the forbidden AWOL that my daddy told me that it's not good to journey on. It left me really, really, really stupid. I felt mentally used, that how could I have been so dumb for this long? And I was told this, and that I just believed it like that, and I started teaching it without even asking why. So it's a way mototo. There is not how you are going to sit down at the doorstep to eat, and someone who wants to pass would not, cross over your food. And by doing that, that's not hygienic enough. When other people start stepping over your food, they could pick up sound and any other you know, organism that could affect the human body. Well, I didn't know that on time, and I must tell you the truth. It left me really, really battered because why do I have to why do I have to have that knowledge at this point in my life? For how many people do I start correcting? And from my children who are already told that people that can imagine, those children have asked 1,000 times for crying out loud, and I have no reasons until now. So it is a mental, kind of slavery or torture. Yeah. What do you mean, though? Coming from my parents, no really big.
Thank you. I think that they actually knew or they did that on purpose.
They wouldn't have known. they wouldn't have known. Not the way they loved me. And they wouldn't have known. I'm sure that it's the level of the knowledge that they have that they pass across to the children. They also believe the same taboo that could kill my job. I'm even sure that there's this belief that something bad, might happen to someone who does that for no reason. You get, because nobody's peeled it out that this is the reason why it is not good to eat at the doorstep, you know. And we went on carrying on that mentality like that. I don't think they know. If they had known, they did their best to teach what they know, and that's one of the things that they know. So it's in our own part now not to pass the same information across to our children. Some of us already started doing that. So I think it's high time we, start correcting those notions.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. Wow, that's really as in yeah, a lot of things happen and people really went through a lot of things, and there's something that when I was just studying about this trauma. I realized that one of the ways to help out is awareness. Once you're aware that yes, you are traumatized as an adult, it's going to help you to go back to what really caused the trauma. What did you go through? A lot of people went through abuse from maybe people that abused them while they were young, things they see, yeah, relatives, families, parents that they see that they abuse each other, and those things have it has left damages on them. All right, briefly, I want us to just talk about how parents now can. Okay, I was talking earlier about how a parent deprive of some things, and they saw it that okay, it is a normal thing. I've gone through this thing. I don't want my children to go through. How do we now draw the line? Let me hear your own view about this.
Okay.
Go ahead, just
Okay, so I'm going to say something about this childhood trauma. I read this as a capture somewhere, relating to what you were saying, that if you want to, as far as you have decided to have a child for your spouse, why don't you decide to do parenting together? Because one day these children will leave you and the two of you will stay alone. So I want to encourage parents, please, parenting is not for mothers and fathers. If you support your husband, you're going to have an excellent home. If you support your wife, you're going to have an excellent home. So that's by the way. So you said like awareness, how the effects on ourselves or our children. Recently, I shared a story with my children of how my daddy deprived me of some financial advantage. I had a party to go, it was a wedding party, and my dad said he was not going to give me money for a suit. Seeing these blue suits made me remember that situation. So, and I told him, he said he was not ready to give me. I just finished secondary school. So my children said, because sometimes we have to share our experience with our children. Like you said, you took your child back to your home. So this was a few days ago. And I sat down with them and I said, what I did was I needed to work as an house help. Like, what? Work as an house help? Why? I said, because I needed the money. And my daddy was not ready to give me. And I don't know how to go with boyfriends or
Begging.
something, or begging uncles. So I worked for a few months as an house help. And I told them something, that some of those children of the very rich parent that I work with even got pregnant after secondary school. I said, but because I knew where I was going, I worked for a few months and I was able to buy that suit. And the suit made so much meaning to me. So the day my dad got to know that, he asked my mom, where is boss? I said she has gone to work. I'll dress well and go to work and I'll change when I get there and I'll sweep all the compound, clean their kitchen, and I'll eat and I'll come back home. I was always contented with what I have. So the day that my dad got to know, my dad said, what? House help? That's the day he said I should stop, and he said, you enroll me for jam lesson. So when I told them the story, they felt like, wow, mommy, so you went through all this. They said, mommy, please don't cry. I said, I'm not crying. I'm only sharing the story. Because life is not always roses. If I don't give you some things, it doesn't mean I'm depriving you of it. I went through some things too. So, and I don't want you to pass through this road, but I'm making you enjoy the little part of life that I can give you so that you will not have a bad experience growing up. So I think sometimes we need to share these things with our children so that they will know that this is how we were able to go through it. It affected me, but I was able to come out of it. And so if, in case you're going through something, like my daughter told me yesterday and said, mommy, I wish some things never happened. I said, they're just 12, 13 years. So Your experience is just short. So, but it will keep happening. But don't let it affect you. As soon as they happen, come out of it and see life in a different dimension. And then lastly, I'll say that we should have relationship with our children. Let's talk with our children. Let's have a conversation with them and they will understand better. Not just leaving them in a cloud and making them feel that whatever we do for them, they should understand. Let's have a conversation and a relationship
Yeah,
with
thank you
them.
very much. I know that there's this story that I saw about a parent, I think a stepmother and a father that allegedly tortured their 7-year-old son with hot water for stealing biscuits. And at the end of the day, I think they had to amputate the boy's leg. And I was like, is that the next is that the solution, is that the punishment for a child that steals? I mean, if we want to talk about it, a lot of us have stolen, maybe directly or indirectly, but if you take something that is not yours, it's stealing. Maybe, like I was saying, that I always like to look at the cause of problem. I don't love to dwell on the problem. Okay, why did this child steal biscuit? And I have to look at it. Perhaps this child is hungry. I was telling you about how our parents deprived us of some things. Okay, we were supposed to take protein, but they won't give us.
Yeah.
They believe that children shouldn't be taking protein. That why should you are a thief for eating protein? And then I could say maybe then they were really not. They were not aware that protein. In fact, it's children that even need protein more. You understand? But they were not aware. And maybe a lot of us. I remember that I stole fish one time. I stole fish. Yes, good. I stole fish. Yes, now because
good.
Yes, good now because I know it was. I didn't steal it directly. My brothers, my two brothers, immediate elder brother, they told me to go and steal the fish. My mom fried that fish. It was plenty. So maybe she didn't. I'm sure maybe she didn't give us. There is a way fish now when you are frying it. So she didn't give us. So my brother said, "Go and take that fish."
And the other has entered your
I didn't know that my mom has counted the fish. So I now went to take fish. I shared it with my brothers and the likes. I hope my mom came back. It was those brothers that told my mom that it was me that took the fish. Child. That was the first time I remember that my mom beat the hell out of me. I vomited that fish.
Wow.
That day. Just because you were deprived of protein that we should
necessities.
So I want us to really talk about, okay, where should we set the boundaries? Okay, a child needs something. A child needs this thing. Okay, a child has peer pressure. Okay, they want to feel among, they want to get the basic things, clothing. There are sometimes that our children are talking about a kind of particular style. Is it crop top that they want to wear? The other side, they have a lot of pressure on them. So they have a lot of things they wanted to do. And if they don't get this thing, they tend to steal. You see some children that they steal to go and get what they want, to get iPhone, to get or to even collect money from men to get what they want. Do you understand what I'm saying? So in a bid to correct a child, I saw another video of a father that was beating her daughter because she was doing hookup. And she was showing it. That one was even talking about, should you even come online to show you? And the people were saying that it's because so that they can make other people to learn that if you do this thing, you can disgrace you publicly. So how do we now set the bar? We give children what they do, then quickly, because of our time, kind of punishments that we can impute to help to reset children that are maybe having some behavioral.
All right, thank you very much. In 1998, I will never forget, on the streets where my mom used to have a shop, there was this boy, Ali, and then the stepmom poured out petrol on her head that she stole something too in the house. And before you know it, that petrol came through the face until today. I'm not sure whether, because I don't see them again, but for all that while, that boy went blind. This one is not a story that I read. It happened on the streets. All right, now, two things to attack that. The first thing is that if we decide we are going to be parents, it's not compulsory. It's not compulsory. But if we decide that we are going to be parents, then we must be able to give it all that it takes. Now, you said something about having a relationship now, and that is very key. If you are going to raise children in this era, things are changing, and they are changing drastically. So you must develop a very solid relationship with your children. Something happened. My second child is at 12 today, going to be 13. So some years back, I think she was around 6. I saw her. She went to a shop nearby, bought biscuits, and then when I called her name, And she had already opened the biscuit and she started eating it. She just quickly dropped the biscuit in one of the flowers around and ran through the back door and came in. So I welcomed her, I greeted her. Where have you been? I've been calling. She said, he was just around. She was just around. I said, so what have you been doing? She was trying to find a way to cover up. So later I said, what is this on your mouth? What have you been eating? She said, nothing. But now took her. So we went, and then we went to that flower and now brought out the biscuits. At that time, she was melting. So I said, who dropped this biscuit here? She looked at me. I said, just the truth. So she said she was the one. So I took the biscuit. We went back inside. So getting back, she was already fidgeting. So I said she should sit down. Where did you get money to buy these biscuits? Don't just add to the problem. Just keep saying the truth. So she told me where she went to take money. When I send them errands and they bring back change, I'll open the kitchen drawer and just drop the change there. So in case maybe we want to blend pepper, things like that, they can take from those change. So she said it was from that place. So I said, why did she tell me? That's stealing. So I said, why did she buy that kind of biscuits? Do you know why? She watched an advert. She's been seeing an advert. I've forgotten the name of that biscuit now. So if you eat that biscuit, in that advert, the teenager was strong, jumping around. So she said she wants to have power like that teenager. So you can see where she's coming from. Adverts. That's influence. So I sat her down and I told her that this thing is not true. It's not real. It's not everything that they advertise that is real like that. Some people just package things up to. So if you eat that biscuit now, okay, take and finish it. Then you will jump like that woman is jumping and everything. You know, so when I explained things to her like that, she was already crying. And she kept saying, Mommy, I'm sorry. Mommy, I'm really sorry, ma. I said, you know, the God that will catch you is the one that made me to just see through the window. And I saw it because I wouldn't have known, because I don't know how much I had. So with that, till today, she's 12 now. If she needs anything, she might even take. But when I come, she'll say, Mommy, I took something from that. This is what I use it for. And she will, I did not ask, but she will keep downloading everything. Relationship. We must be able to build confidence in our kids so that they will be able to tell us everything before they will go outside and be talking to people, and people will help us to educate them in a wrong way. That is one thing we must. That is the first thing, and it is very, very vital. Then the second thing is about parents itself. I don't know if you saw this. In November 2024, I saw in UK news that a woman went to the government and said she's tired of being a parent. She doesn't want to be a parent again. She wants them to take her children, take everything. Just let me go back to the single life I was living. Wow. I thought it was a joke. And in conversation later with one of my aunties there, she said, yes, it's true that it's not too far from where she was staying. That the woman does not want to be. The parenting is too much on her. She's not prepared for that. She just found herself there. I'm like, wow, even in UK, where you don't pay school fees, where those things are taken off from you, you know, as a citizen. And I began to think, that means there's more to eat. There's more to eat. So a lot of people are not prepared. They just find themselves, I want to feel among. I want to be married. A woman was telling me she's waiting for the fruits of the womb. And she told me, I said, why don't you adopt since you have been waiting this long? She said, adopt a week-old child. I don't know how to train a child. I don't know how to do it. I was looking at her. You don't know. Okay, now if you get pregnant and you give birth, at least you have been married for 12 years. Are you telling me you will not know how to take care of that child? You know, that sent me back home thinking that, okay, you don't want to adopt a week-old child because you are saying that I don't know how to nurse a child, I don't know how to raise a child, and you have been married for more than 12 years, about 12 years, let's say 12 years. Excuse me. Wow. So apart from relationship,
Wow, this is a very insightful topic, and honestly, I've really learned a lot here. You know, like I believe that you should have learned a lot. At least if you didn't get anything, you know, like she rightly said about, you know, building communication with your children. It's very essential. Having good communication with your children, as in build that rapport so that your children can really talk to you. Like, you know what she said about when a child bought the biscuit, she caught and she took the child inside and talked with the child. Imagine our parents, would they even give us chance to talk? They would as the slap we will receive, you understand? So parents, this topic is a very wide topic. How to, as what kind of punishment is right for children? How do you train your children? How do you help your children? Why children are going, how do you know that your children is even traumatized? You understand? So talking about building good communication with your children. Then she mentioned something which I really derived something that teach your children empathy. Teach them that not everybody have the same kind of life you are living. You might have something today. There's some people that your own lifestyle is a prayer point for them. So teach your children that they are better than some people, and life changes, things change, life happens to people. So let them understand that. Honestly, we are going to have a kind of class, it's going to be a Zoom class for parenting, intentional parenting. If you know that, if you want to be a parent, I know parenting is not easy. Parenting in our parents' days was not easy for them. In our whole day, it is prayer we are using. But we have to really learn how to parent these Gen Z children so that we don't raise dysfunctional children in the future. Honestly, I'm going to give you an update of the class that is coming soon, how to reparent yourself and how to help your children heal from trauma. Thank you very much, Mrs. Fowley. Thank you. It's very easy. I know. Thank you for always coming whenever I call on you. And I believe that if I call you again, you are going to respond to us.
Sure.
Is that a promise?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm very, very grateful for the privilege.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Akibiledo, for always coming to give your insights. I really appreciate all our viewers too for coming online to watch us. And if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe to this channel. Subscribe. We need to subscribe. Now, hit that subscription button so that you can get update of our videos. And if this video has really taught you or you learned something from this, please do well to drop it in the comment section. Or you have something that is bothering you, you have a question for our guest, just drop it in the comment section. We are going to pass it across to her. Till we come away again next week for another interesting episode of Just a Chat. It's me, Bunmi, saying, have an amazing day. Bye.